the next build along that's scheduled for this evening is by Aaron Pataski of Apogee Locomotive Works. Aaron, thanks so much for being here this evening. I really do appreciate it. Your box cab is the first locomotive that we've had a build along segment with, and I'm really looking forward to this. So thank you so much for doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, happy to. Let me just go ahead and get my camera up.
Okay.
A lot of stuff to turn on here. Oh, and start virtual camera. Okay, here we are. So hello, this is going to be the build of the ALW 28-ton box cab. So here's the kit itself. I'm going to be using some extra detail parts as well, such as, hang on, these little steeple cab hoods. And of course, because I'm using a virtual camera, the letters are inverted, frustratingly enough, but there is those detail parts. Here is a detail pack set that includes a pantograph mount, and a high voltage rack if you want it as a static model. And of course, back to the actual model itself, which includes the shell, the cab roof, 2 coupler plugs, and the small sandboxes. So I'm going to go ahead and open this guy up, carefully avoiding the instructions. And let's take it out. Now, of course, all ALW kits include instructions and prototype information regarding the model. Of course, this one is a freelance locomotive, so it just has the kind of ALW kind of story as if ALW is a real manufacturer. And of course, once again, because it's virtual camera, can't read it. But here is the shell outside of its bag. And as you can see, it's a well-detailed and yet generic kind of a design philosophy that I go by as I identify as open canvas design, which is the design in which there's a lot of detail on here, including panel lines, rivets, and steps and details on the cast frame, but there's no defining detail, meaning that it could be electric, it could be diesel, it could be anything you really want it to be. As you can see, we have a pretty well-designed cab interior with a little work table on that side, and it's open on the other side, like so. And here is our mount for our Northwest Shortline Stanton drive. Now, these kits are kind of beginner kits, little kits that can be picked up by anyone at any experience level and made pretty nice. Now, unfortunately, because we're on a time limit, I'm not going to paint it, but I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you what you can do with one of these little guys. So here is a little unit with running board, grab irons, everything on there. And here is the Stanton drive we're going to use. Now, this is a 6-foot, 6-inch wheelbase Stanton drive with 33-inch wheels. This one is a dummy truck. We're going to go ahead and take off the bolt and the washers. They'll come off themselves. Make sure this thing focuses. So we're going to just take our shell and pop it in. I'm going to adjust these so they thread through. Like so. And the Stanton drive should press right in. As you can see, that hole fits right onto the Stanton drive, and we can bolt it down with these 2 washers here. Put in the other one. Come on, focus. There you go. And the bolt. It's a bit finicky. That's why I got pliers. I'm going to go ahead and try to... Yeah, I'm going to need the pliers. There we go. So it's pretty simple to assemble it onto the drive. And let's go ahead and add some detail parts. Now, the shell kit itself also includes some doors. And here are the doors. Now you can paint these any way you'd like. I wanted to make the doors separate in hopes that it'd make it easier to paint. So there's the door. They have a little flange on this side here. And we can put it in like so. So the doors just press right in on either end. It's very simple assembly for the doors. And then the cab roof can be removable or fixed as you'd like. And there's the standard unit, easy as that. But of course, we have a lot of different things that we can do with this unit because it is an open canvas design. So once again, I'm going to open up another pack of detail parts. These are the, what I like to call the juice box locomotive detail pack, because it's like a little electric. So here, actually, I'm going to show you the high voltage rack, which is an essential part for an electric locomotive. See if I can get this to focus better. Maybe if I move it in like so. It's difficult to focus because the color. There we go. So the high voltage rack has the grid resistor detail and some various electronic components, including these switches here. We have little fuses on this side and one of the larger fuses up there, fuse box. On this end, we have another fuse right there. This is all designed and kind of modified in proportion based off of Iowa terminal number 53, which I was able to get into and take photos because I'm also working on a model of that. And unfortunately, because of the size, this is supposed to be, relatively to scale for this box cab. It unfortunately is not particularly ideal to install on a running model, but it is great on either a dummy or a display model. So that'll actually press around the Stanton drive and fit in there like so. So it looks like you have a full grid resistor in there. Well, high voltage rack, sorry, my apologies. In there like so. And of course, right there is where the pantograph or the pole would, connect. So that is some of the stuff we can do with this thing, but we can do a whole lot more. Not sure if you'll be able to see it here, but there are little holes, little divots where we can mark and drill out the holes for the grab irons. So I'm going to use a little pin vise here, and I'm actually going to go ahead and take this out for now. And I'm just going to go ahead and drill out some of these holes. Now, the misconception with resin is that it can be difficult to drill. Not necessarily. It's just a case of it is a semi-brittle material sometimes. And that can mean that certain tools are less than ideal while some work extremely well. When you're cutting resin, say if you wanted to heavily modify this unit, I would suggest a Dremel tool or any rotary tool with a disc on it to cut anything, because snippers like these, when they cut, they press the material away, which is what causes cracks. But a cutting disc, it just cuts through material slowly without putting that force on it, that separating force. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and continue drilling these holes. It can be a bit of a tedious job, but you can listen to music or whatever while you do it. I like doing these little freelance designs mainly because it gives more power to, people who do model freelance. I think that there should be a market for freelance model railroading because it's a huge part of the hobby. And I think a lot of people could benefit with having models like these that are, vaguely generic, but still have the detail. You can do a lot with them. So I have,
Aaron, I'm sorry, Aaron, what kind of pin drive for your drill are you using?
I'm actually not sure what the brand is on this. I've had it for so long,
Right.
but this one I think is a 0.02.
Yeah. It's a neat looking drill.
Yeah, they're really nice. You can get them at most hobby shops, and you can find them on Micromark as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Go, I think these are mostly pretty close. Go. I'm just going to do a quick example one. Now I use Tichy train wire, Tichy train group wire, phosphor bronze, and this is 0.02 or 0.020 bronze wire. Again, I apologize for the inverted camera. I didn't realize it would do that. Let's see here. So I'm just going to take a length of this, make sure it.
Hey, Aaron, to set your mind at ease, it's only reversed for you.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
normal for us. They reverse it for you because people get confused when their hands move the wrong way
Okay.
in the video. So just ignore the video and all's good.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So yeah, I'm just going to measure about to. One thing I will admit, although being the owner of a company focusing on scratch building, I am ironically pretty poor with making handrails. It's one thing I haven't quite mastered, but I am getting there. So I'm going to go ahead and bend this wire here at about a 90 degree. Now, of course, there are better ways to do sanctions, grab irons, but this is just the way I do it. It worked out pretty well on the last one. Now, I'm pretty sure the thickest part of these will get me pretty square here. So I'm just going to try to measure this and make sure I get it decently square. Try to make sure everything is shiny and it's messing up the focus. Okay. Go ahead and cut that. And I hope that fits. Probably not. I think I made it a little bit too wide. Yeah, I made it a bit too wide. That's fine. Let's just bend that back out. And rebend that. Okay. Let's try to get that guy in there. Be close. I'm gonna drill those out some more. Again, like I said, I'm not the greatest at sanctions yet. I need to do a lot of practice. That seems to be the only real way to get any skill.
Watch you don't drill your finger.
Yeah. Oh, I've done it before. Yeah. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't get into locomotive kits is because they think it might be a little bit too intimidating, a little bit too daunting. There's a lot, like the whole worrying about the mechanism, wiring it, or, something else. Maybe it just sounds way too much trouble than it's worth. But I've always found a lot of fun and satisfaction in building locomotive kits. I wish that the hobby itself promoted a lot more creativity, promoted freelance model railroading some more, because a good freelance can do a lot. Because I don't personally think that freelance model railroading should just be an excuse to do whatever you want. It should be aggressive world development, building a believable railroad, coming up with creative power and interesting reasons to run said power, and, sticking to your own prototype like glue. But there's one grab iron in, and what I like to do with my grab irons is, you'll see it here, maybe kind of make a little lip on them like so. So it goes in just a little bit. And of course, the way I go about that is by putting the end in the pliers and carefully bending both ends down. And that gives me that kind of bend like that. And I think that just kind of makes it look a bit more interesting. Like so. Kind of got to position it right. Now, I use CA glue because I don't really know why. I just find it more convenient and easy, especially the gap filling stuff. This is that BSI glue that you see a lot of places rebranded for local hobby shop or whatever. It's genuinely really good stuff. I use it a lot. It's one of the only glues I use. I don't use Loctite. I used to use Loctite, but weirdly enough, the kind of super glue, that fog that you get if you glue super glue, if you glue two plastic pieces with super glue, it kind of creates that fog. It's less so on this BSI ink glue, which is weird, but it works. But there's an example of a grab iron put on. Goes on pretty well. And of course, I could do more. There is another little divot right by the window corner there. And it shows, you'll be able to drill up like this. You can drill into the cab and make that grab iron there. Now, there's some other detail parts that we can do also, like these. There's a lot of ALW detail parts that are very complementary for other ALW products. For example, these are really good for the 28 tonners. I'm going to go ahead and open these guys. And we can kind of turn this thing into essentially a little baby version of a Baldwin Westinghouse by taking one of these tiny little ALW steeple cab hoods and just sliding it on wherever we'd really like. So put it in the middle. I want to put it to the side because Baldwins are to the side. And it would make sense for a unit like this, if it was electric, to have a little hood on each end, because there's not very much room for it. We have the high voltage rack, but we'd also need room for the compressors and anything else, the blowers. So I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, I'm not going to paint this model as of yet. It's possible to paint them after, but just for the sake of this video, we're just going to build this guy for here without any glue, any paint. Wipe off any excess. And that guy will just go right about there. And it looks right. Actually, let me move it in a bit more. There we go. like so. Now, there are the stock sandboxes, and they're these little kind of tins. These are also based off of the. Let me see if I can get at the focus. Come on. This camera. Well, anyway, these are little sandboxes, again, based off Iowa Terminal 53. They are these little kind of steel welded drums that would be filled with sand, but we're going to use these hoods, which have a little sand thing right here. Right here.
It's clearer further down now, Aaron.
Yeah.
There.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, right there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the next.
Aaron, this is Phil. Can I make a suggestion? If you've got a
Yes.
sheet of white paper, when you want to show a detail, hold it right behind the model. The problem is the camera keeps focusing on the pad.
Uh-huh.
But if you hold a white sheet of paper right behind the model, there, yeah. But put that right on the paper. It has to be on. Yeah, there you go. Because what it does, it changes the focal field. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so you can kind of see the sand dome there. Well, not sand dome, sorry, but the sand drum. So that is the standard one. There are also other ones that are based on the Fort Dodge, Des Moines and Southern's. Work, you fiend.
There you go.
Almost.
There.
Oh, well, I guess it wants to be here now. But there's other sandboxes available, like the Design 2 and Design 3, which are both based on the Fort Dodge, Des Moines and Southern's Oregon electric motors, and they're available on the website as well. You can take a look at them. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and put on the cab roof, and I'm going to fix a pantograph on. Now, these are the MK2 pantograph mounts. They have insulators, paper. There you go. They have insulators on them, a bolt pattern, all that. And they're a lot more sturdy than the original MK1 pantograph mounts, which here's what early pantograph mount MK1. Not as sturdy as the MK2s. So we're going to go ahead and mount the pantograph on the MK2 mounts. And I have a screwdriver here. No, I don't, but I can get one. Like so. Now, I do also sell these pantographs on the website on apogeelocoworks.com. They're fun. They're nice, well-sized pantographs for, this kind of work. And I just, put the screw down, pantograph mount itself. Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and screw this guy on. Like so. Okay. So when I'm working on a little build like this, a lot of times I'll think about, let's see here. There we go. A lot of times I'll think about detail placement, like, do I want the pantograph to sit offset or do I want it in the center? There's a lot of nice large subframes to kind of move around and decide on a lot of stuff. For this guy, though, I think I am just going to put it in the center, but I'm also going to glue this second.
Aaron, what's your pantograph made of?
Our pantographs are metal, so they could be powered.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like I said, I do use CA glue. These have little nubs on them that make it easier to glue, so it's less glue being used. Paper, there you go. And now, jeez.
Right there.
Well,
Hey,
you might be able to
good.
see these little nubs
Mm-hmm.
on the insulators there, and that's where I will little dabs of glue. Sorry about my camera. Usually it's not like this. I think it's because I'm using it for, I don't know. Usually, I got to make sure that that is centered. And there we go. So now we have a nice little switcher. Just a few subframes. Of course, if I wanted to, I could have done this in little intervals and painted everything as I did it, and it would have been a lot longer, and it would have looked really cool. It would have looked like one of these little guys. There's enough room in here to do a, put in a Loxound Micro or some weight, or you could do both. To give you an example of what you would use to weight these little guys, these are little tungsten blocks. These are 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch, I think, and it took this much, and that's 2 ounces, and it's a pretty hefty unit. This is a bar frame designed version. I have 2 different frames available. One of them is cast, and another one is bar frames. The bar frame would be earlier, more electric in general. And of course, it's the cast frame, which is more versatile, I guess you could say, and it's what it could be. Doing the grab irons is more or less pretty easy. I've only done one, but it's a good example of what you can do with like how I do it. And of course, these do take paint very well. They're all cured and correctly and everything. So you can paint them as you'd like. For example, this guy again, or this guy, which is kind of a more Milwaukee color to it, scheme.
Aaron, what kind of paint do you use?
Personally, I prefer True Color just because it's what I, started using and kind of gotten used to. I know Scale Coat is really, really good. And I want to use some Scale Coat stuff as well, but I just haven't had a supplier of it. One thing that is really fun with these units is getting multiple, like maybe 2 or 3, and setting up so one has the decoder in it, and then the 2 on each end are just slugs, just lead slugs of power. We also make a B unit version, and we also make a flat frame version for anyone wanting to kind of build up as their own little critter on the cast frame. And of course, these guys accept the same Stanton drives as these. And they're a really handy base for a little critter.
What scale are we talking about?
Well, this one is HO, but there are flat frames available in S, O, and O130. So the ones in HO are designed to fit a 6 foot 6 inch wheelbase Stanton drive, and then the S and the O ones are designed to fit an 8 foot wheelbase because that is the smallest Stanton drive they make in those scales.
Right.
But the O scale one sits on a 10 foot wheelbase Stanton drive because, to make it look right. on an HO scale drive. But yeah, that's various little stuff for building these little ALW 28 tonners. Little guide on building one of the grab irons, the addition of the little extra detail parts, kind of the inside. And of course, like I said before, I could do a paint on this, but it would have taken a lot longer for this video.
What do you use for window glazing?
Most, pretty much any clear plastic will work. That's one of the things I like to do with my window glazing is just take little pieces of like packaging plastic, like, you know, the ABS clear plastic that they use when they hang products. Just cut out little pieces of that and pop it against the walls. Yeah.
Now, is that Pantograph a commercially manufactured one?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I just stock them. I also
are you also able to have trolley poles on it?
Yes. I've been wanting to source trolley poles for a while. I just haven't been able to find any. I think Bowser has some, but I'm not sure if they do it. Their website kind of makes it unclear whether or not they do still stock them.
What about couplers?
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention couplers. Let's see. Excuse me one moment.
You look like Yoda, Pat.
It does,
Okay.
does.
Sorry about that. So these will use normal Katy couplers. I don't actually have a full finished one, but basically you would take a Katy coupler, coupler box. You would slide it in fully assembled with the Katy coupler inside. And then you take one of these little pins, and this hole is designed to fit around the hole in the Katy coupler box. So you push that in like so, and it locks the coupler in. No screw to fiddle with, nothing like that. It's just a mechanical press in with a little kind of square knob. So when you want to replace the coupler or something, you just pull that out and you would push the Katy coupler box out fully assembled. It's not going to fall out because it's one of the ones that snap together.
Aaron, one of the viewers on YouTube has a question. If they lose parts, do you sell the extra parts, or can they order extra parts if they happen to lose them or break them?
Oh, yes. I have a lot of the one thing a mistake I made when I was actually packing the first batch of these was that the doors were not included in the packaging. So I would include the doors in little packets and just include them in the box. If there are any damaged parts, I am more than happy to replace them. Any damaged or lost parts, I am more than happy to replace. So, yeah.
Okay. Aaron, building one of your kits, what's the main thing that a modeler, say, never built one of these before, or that kind of a kit before? What's the main thing you need to look out for?
Well, I would say there's when you're starting out on an ALW kit or a locomotive kit or a resin kit, it's a new experience, but definitely don't be afraid to try it. A lot of people, don't really like the idea or are worried about putting together locomotive kits. It's fine. It's a learning experience. My first locomotive kits were roundhouse kits, and I did not do a very good job at them, but I still had a good time. They're fun to build. It's just, it can be daunting to try on a new experience. But just do it. It's fun. Give it a shot. Try new things. When it comes to resin kits specifically, I would definitely look out for these suckers. These will ruin everything. Snippers like these work sometimes for example, if there's not any aggressive structure there. But you put one of these guys against a surface like this to cut out, maybe you want to make a different cab design. Do not use snips, because snips will push the material away. That's how they cut. They push it out. And a brittle material like resin will crack all the way across because it doesn't want to move. I definitely suggest using a Dremel if you're going to cut resin with proper ventilation. Use a cutting wheel and go against it like that, because that just cuts with force like that, while snippers push material away like that, causing it to crack.
Thank you.
Aaron,
Yes.
do you supply the drive for the O-scale units?
At the moment, I only have the drives available for the HO, simply because I just it's kind of difficult for me at the current at the current moment to stock a lot of the stuff that I need to do this.
Okay.
I would like to in the near future, but you can still get them from northwestshortline.com.
So you would advise what type of Stanton drive to get when you do order one from?
So for HO, it's the 6'6" wheelbase, 33-inch drivers.
Yeah.
And for the O scale one and the HO scale one, sorry, not HO, S scale one, it would be the 8-foot wheelbase. And I think 33-inch drivers, if they still have it available. They're smallest diameter wheels for both the S and O. And if you wanted to do the O and 30 version, which I should have around here somewhere, but for some reason I do not, that one takes a HO scale 10-foot 0-inch wheelbase Stanton drive with 40-inch drivers.
Thank you, Aaron. Very well done.
Thank you.
Well, Aaron, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
The name of Aaron's company again?
Oh, yes, it is ApogeeLocoWorks.com, Apogee Locomotive Works. I can post a link right here. Let me get it.
We also have it on our website if you want to go there and find out about it.
Yeah. There.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Aaron?
Hi, Aaron. John Garrity, Australia.
Mhm.
I've put some links up in the chat that might get you your trolley poles.
Okay.
Basically, they're Barkman spares.
Oh, okay.
They appear to be available through the Barkman spare parts shop.
Perfect. I'll have to take a look at that.
The pantographs, are they summer felt? There's a European firm by the name of Sommerfeld, does pantographs for European locomotives. There's another source of possible pantographs for you.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Back to lurking.
Anybody else have any questions for Aaron? Well, Aaron, thanks so much. I really do appreciate you doing this for us.
Yeah, happy to. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. I do apologize again for my camera. I don't know why I was so excited to fight now.
No problem. I think you did a great job. Thanks so much.
Thank you.